January 29th, 2026. Before the sun even touched the Georgia horizon, federal agents descended on Fulton County. This wasn't just a few G-men knocking on a door. This was coordinated, deliberate, and surgical. Over 700 boxes seized, ballots, voter rolls, machine tapes, and election records. This wasn't speculation. A federal judge signed the warrant. That means probable cause. That means sworn evidence was strong enough to convince a federal judge that a crime had likely been committed inside an election office. And right there, at ground zero, was Tulsi Gabbard. Not just a politician, not a senator, the director of national intelligence. What was she doing there? We'll get to that. But first, we need to understand the battlefield. Fulton County, Georgia, the political stronghold of Atlanta, deep blue, deeply entrenched, and central to the 2020 outcome. In 2020, Biden won Georgia by just 11,779 votes. But look at the numbers. In 2016, voter turnout was 57%. In 2020, 73%. The rest of Georgia averaged 66.7%. Somehow, during a pandemic, when people were locked inside, scared to leave their homes, urban Fulton County outperformed the entire state and shattered its own records. Statistically, that's an anomaly. Logistically, that's a red flag waving in a hurricane. Now let's talk mechanics. In 2020, Democrat-controlled jurisdictions used COVID-19 as the excuse to bypass traditional election security. Georgia mailed out ballots to everyone on the voter roll, whether the information was updated or not. Ballots flooded mailboxes, returned to sender, left on doorsteps, sent to names that no longer live there. This created an army of ghost voters, ballots floating in the wind, ready for anyone to pick up and fill out. Republicans warned this would lead to fraud. They were ignored, ridiculed, and censored. And why the push for voter registration before 2020? Why bus people around? It wasn't about civic duty. It was about creating a massive pool of mail-in ballots that could be harvested. This isn't just theory. Here are the hard facts that led to the warrant. 315,000 ballots were verified in Fulton County without poll workers present. That's a direct violation of state and federal law. An observer affidavit from 2020 claimed thousands of ballots looked identical. Not just similar, identical. They described perfect circles filled in on the ballots. Human beings don't make perfect circles with a pen. Machines do. That suggests mass printing of pre-filled ballots. In 2021, even NPR reported on plans to rescan 142 mail-in ballots due to chain of custody issues. A Benford's Law analysis showed the turnout numbers were wildly irregular, statistically impossible without tampering. All this combined gave federal authorities enough to say, something's rotten in Georgia. And on January 29th, 2026, they kicked the door in. So why was the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, at the raid? Unless what they found in Fulton County connects to a national intelligence concern. Tulsi declassified the Steele dossier. She's been vocal about Obama's Russia hoax, Hillary Clinton's email scandal, and the weaponization of federal agencies. Here's what this may really be: a connection between the 2016 Russia collusion hoax and the 2020 election interference. If intelligence agencies or foreign actors were involved in manipulating the vote or covering it up, that falls squarely under the DNI's jurisdiction. It's not just about ballots, it's about a coup. This brings us to a terrifying possibility. If officials in the DOJ or the Biden administration knew about this fraud, if they knew Fulton County was compromised, and instead of investigating it, they chose to indict Donald Trump for questioning it, that is a separate federal crime. That is a conspiracy to obstruct justice. That is weaponizing the legal system to cover up a stolen election. If Jack Smith indicted Trump for election interference while sitting on evidence that the election was interfered with, he isn't a prosecutor, he's a co-conspirator. And that opens the door to RICO charges that bypass the statute of limitations. Let's break down how the fraud works based on the investigation. 1. Mail-in ballots sent to everyone, no verification. 2. Nonprofits or operatives harvest ballots from homes or trash bins. 3. Ballots are pre-filled, possibly by machine, the perfect circles. 4. Thousands are dropped into unmonitored drop boxes at night. 5. Tabulation machines glitch and votes need to be hand counted again where the numbers shift. We've seen the videos. Late night dumps. No transparency. Missing chain of custody logs. And look at the reaction. Immediately after the raid, Fulton County Democrats didn't say, "We welcome the investigation to prove our innocence." No. They screamed, "This is a travesty. Vote for us in the midterms." They pivoted to politics immediately. They called it an abuse of power. Why? Because when you're caught, you deflect. You attack the investigator. You claim persecution. But a federal judge doesn't sign a warrant based on politics. They sign it based on evidence. Fulton County resisted court orders for years. The DOJ tried to get the records through civil courts, denied. So they went criminal. Obstruction of justice. Failure to preserve election materials. And no, the evidence won't disappear. It's scanned, documented, receipted, and will be returned. Anyone arguing chain of custody issues after a federal raid either doesn't understand the system or is trying to gaslight you. Let me tell you something the narrator shared. He was in Detroit in 2020, went to vote in person. It was empty. The poll workers said it was the slowest day in history. But hours later, on TV, they said it was the highest turnout in Detroit's history. Then, windows boarded up at the counting center, poll watchers kicked out, secret ballot counting. He watched it unfold with his own eyes. It changed his entire view of the process. From a Marine, from a lawyer, from a citizen. When your eyes tell you one thing and the TV tells you another, trust your eyes. You've heard it before. Trump lost every case. Wrong. Most weren't even heard. They were tossed on jurisdiction, not facts. Standing, laches. Mootness. No witnesses called. No machines inspected. No ballots forensically examined. That's not justice. That's avoidance. When a system fears discovery more than deception, it's broken. But now, the DOJ has the ballots. They have the machines. They have the truth. That's why this raid matters. That's why Tulsi Gabbard's presence matters. That's why this investigation could finally break the dam. Whether or not it reaches the top of the political food chain, Obama, Clinton, Comey, it already confirms one thing. You were right to question it. They mocked you, they silenced you, they censored you. But on January 29th, 2026, the federal government confirmed that something in Fulton County smelled wrong. And now, the whole country is watching. You're not crazy for asking questions. You're not extreme. You're awake. I'm Robert Davi, and you can bet your last breath I'll keep digging for truth where the media won't look. And before you go, listen carefully. YouTube is unsubscribing people. They're not notifying half of you. So do this the smart way. Bookmark the main channel page. It's in the description and in the pinned comment. Come back every day. Chris Dallas gives us the best damn scripts on the internet so we can deliver truth to the patriots who are ready to fight for this country. Like, subscribe, comment, and share it. And I'll see you in the next one. Chris Dallas and Digital Robert Davi, out.